Something is broken in the modern workplace. The signs are everywhere, from the empty cubicles to the stressed faces of employees. Companies are laying off employees at an alarming rate, creating a sense of instability and fear among the workforce. At the same time, they struggle to fill open positions. Workers are stretched thin, often taking on multiple roles to keep up with the demands. They are doing more work than ever before, often staying late into the night to meet deadlines. Many have resorted to unpaid overtime or juggling multiple jobs just to make ends meet. This is not sustainable. The gig economy is booming, with more people turning to freelance work and short-term contracts. While this offers flexibility, it also lacks stability and benefits. This indicates a fundamental problem with how we perceive work. The traditional 9-to-5 workday is no longer serving us. The rigid structure of the past is failing to meet the needs of the modern workforce. It is an outdated model, rooted in a time when the nature of work was vastly different. It is failing both employees and employers. Companies are finding it increasingly difficult to attract and retain talent. This failure is evident in the struggles companies face in attracting and retaining talent. The job market is more competitive than ever. It is also apparent in the growing dissatisfaction and burnout amongst workers. The pressure to perform is taking a toll on mental health. This essay will delve into the history of the 9-to-5 workday, exploring its origins and questioning its relevance in today's world. The 9-to-5 workday was not always the norm. In fact, for much of human history, work was dictated by the rhythms of nature and the seasons. People worked from sunrise to sunset, and their tasks varied greatly depending on the time of year and the needs of their community. The concept of a structured workday emerged during the Industrial Revolution. This period, spanning from the late 18th to the early 19th century, marked a significant transformation in the way people lived and worked. The Industrial Revolution saw a shift from agrarian societies where people worked on farms and in small workshops to urban centers centered around factories and mass production. This shift necessitated a more regimented approach to work. One of the key figures in popularizing the structured workday was Henry Ford. He is credited with implementing the 8-hour workday and the 5-day work week, which became a model for other industries to follow. In 1914, Ford introduced this model in his factories. This was a revolutionary move at the time, as most workers were accustomed to much longer hours and fewer days off. Ford's goal was to attract and retain talent without necessarily increasing wages. By offering a more predictable and humane schedule, he hoped to improve worker satisfaction and productivity. The repetitive nature of factory work lent itself well to this structured schedule. Workers performed the same tasks daily, which made it easier to manage and measure productivity. This predictability was a key factor in the success of the 9-to-5 model. Workers knew exactly what was expected of them, and employers could easily monitor and optimize their operations. Productivity was easy to measure, and the efficiency of the assembly line became a hallmark of industrial success. This model quickly spread to other industries, becoming a standard for many types of work. Over time, the 9-to-5 model became synonymous with stability, security, and a predictable path to advancement. It was seen as a fair balance between work and personal life, offering employees a sense of routine and employers a reliable workforce. This system thrived throughout the 20th century, becoming deeply ingrained in our culture. It was the foundation upon which many modern labor laws and workplace norms were built. However, the world has changed dramatically since the days of Ford's factories. The rise of the service sector, the information age, and the gig economy have rendered the 9-to-5 model increasingly obsolete. Today, many jobs no longer require a physical presence in a factory or office. Remote work, flexible hours, and project-based tasks are becoming more common, challenging the traditional 9-to-5 structure. The rise of the gig economy, where individuals take on short-term contracts or freelance work, has further disrupted the traditional workday. As technology continues to evolve, so too will our understanding of what constitutes a typical workday. The modern workplace is vastly different from the factories of the past. We have transitioned from an economy dominated by manufacturing to one driven by the service sector. This sector encompasses a wide range of industries. These include healthcare, education, finance, and technology. Jobs in these sectors are not defined by repetitive tasks. They often require creativity, problem-solving, and complex communication. The output is not always tangible or easily quantifiable. The 9-to-5 model, designed for a different era and a different type of work, struggles to accommodate this shift. One of the most glaring flaws of the 9-to-5 model in the modern workplace is the prevalence of unpaid overtime. This issue has become so widespread that it affects millions of workers across various industries. The expectation to work beyond regular hours without additional pay has become a norm rather than an exception. Office jobs often lack the clear-cut end product of a manufacturing setting. Unlike factory work, where productivity can be measured by the number of items produced, office work is more abstract. Tasks are often ongoing, and the lines between work and personal time blur easily. This makes it difficult to measure productivity based on time spent at a desk. The ambiguity in defining what constitutes work leads to employees staying longer hours to meet vague expectations. The pressure to be constantly available and responsive adds to the stress. Employees feel pressure to appear busy, even outside of traditional work hours. The advent of smartphones and remote work tools has made it easier for employers to reach employees at any time, further blurring the boundaries between work and personal life. A 2021 study by the ADP Research Institute found that office professionals averaged 9.2 hours of unpaid overtime per week. This is not just a minor inconvenience, it has significant implications for work-life balance and mental health. This equates to an extra day of work without compensation. Over time, this unpaid labor accumulates, leading to burnout and decreased job satisfaction. The lack of compensation for these extra hours also means that employees are effectively earning less than their agreed-upon salary. This unpaid labor demonstrates a fundamental flaw in a system designed for a time when work output was more easily quantifiable. The modern workplace needs to adapt to the realities of today's work environment, where the nature of tasks and productivity metrics have evolved. Addressing this issue is crucial for creating a fair and sustainable work culture. The rise of the side hustle is another indicator of the 9-to-5 model's failings. A 2024 survey by Fortune found that 41% of employees hold side hustles in addition to their primary jobs. This is often driven by a desire for greater financial security or the pursuit of passions that don't fit within the confines of a traditional job. While some may view side hustles as a sign of entrepreneurial spirit, the prevalence of this trend also highlights a lack of fulfillment and financial stability that many experience within the traditional work model. Employees are increasingly seeking alternative avenues to supplement their income and find purpose in their work. Section 6. The economic impact. The inefficiency of the 9-to-5 model has a significant economic impact. A report by McKinsey & Company found that 2/3 of an individual's lifetime earning potential comes from their work. When a significant portion of the workforce is stuck in a system that doesn't maximize their potential, the entire economy suffers. Unpaid overtime, burnout, and decreased productivity all contribute to lost economic output. Embracing more flexible and fulfilling work models would unlock this untapped potential and lead to greater economic prosperity. Section 7. Embracing flexibility. The future of work demands flexibility. This means moving away from the rigid structure of the 9-to-5 workday and embracing models that prioritize output and well-being over presenteeism. Flexible work arrangements, such as remote work, flexible hours, and results-oriented work environments, can benefit both employees and employers. Employees gain greater control over their time, leading to a better work-life balance and reduced stress. Employers benefit from increased productivity, higher morale, and a more engaged workforce. Section 8. Creating a positive work environment. Beyond simply changing the hours of work, it's essential to cultivate work environments that foster well-being and productivity. This includes creating comfortable and inspiring workspaces, encouraging regular breaks, and promoting open communication. When employees feel valued, respected, and empowered, they are more likely to be engaged and productive, regardless of the specific hours they work. Section 9. Rethinking the future of work. The 9-to-5 workday, once a symbol of progress and stability, has become outdated in the modern workplace. Its rigid structure no longer serves the needs of a workforce engaged in diverse, dynamic, and intellectually demanding tasks. It's time to rethink our approach to work. We must abandon the outdated notion that productivity is tied to a specific time and place. By embracing flexibility, prioritizing well-being, and focusing on output over hours clocked, we can create a future of work that is both more humane and more prosperous.